Okay, so we're holding in Perek Yud Aleph towards the end of Perek Yud Aleph in the Mesillas Yesharim, where he's going through various averos, various. Can you close the door, please, Ben? Various midas, bad character traits that a person has, where we think that we're clear from these bad character traits. But there's subtle. In subtle ways, we are unfortunately nichshal in these bad character traits, and he's just going through them to make us aware of the dangers. So we ended off last week with gaiva, with arrogance. He went through 5 different types of balei gaiva, of arrogant people, and the Mesillas Yesharim ends off by saying, "Ki ein hagaiva ele ivaron mamish." Arrogance is blindness. A person is blind. What is he blind to? Asher ein haseichel adam roya chesur noisa. An arrogant person does not see his shortcomings. Umakir p'chisusa, and does not recognize where he's low in, what he's deficient in. She'ilu haya yachal lirois v'haya makir ha'emes, because if he'd be able to see, if he wouldn't be a bal gaiva, if he wouldn't be arrogant, he'd be able to see himself the way he really is, and he'd be makir the emes. Haya sar misrachim mikol hadrachim arayim hamakulkolim ha'ele hercha gadol. He would distance himself significantly from all these bad character traits. So, besides the actual fact of arrogance being an avera, to be a bal gaiva, but the chaval, the unfortunate thing is with arrogance that the person is deficient and he doesn't even realize his deficiency, so there is almost no hope that he's going to be able to fix himself, which is a horrible thing. We're all deficient, and we're all deficient, and hopefully we can fix ourselves. But the bal gaiva doesn't even see that. That's bad news. So that's how he ends off with the gaiva. Then he comes to kas. Comes to anger. And he points out there's different types of angry people. There are certain people at the drop of a pin get angry. And when they get angry, if they could, they would destroy the world with their anger. I mean, it knows no bounds. As the Gemara says in Shabbos that a person called Kolmina Gehenim Sholten Boy. Gehenim controls him. He loses his seichel, a person loses his intellect. If you ever saw a person angry, right, the person always looks foolish. Now, it's okay sometimes, says the Mesillas Yesharim, to show as if you're angry. When it comes to being mechanech one's children, if someone does something wrong to someone else, right? We're learning in Talmud Devaira, if someone does something wrong to me, and we're talking about in a normal sense, I should not tell him he's doing the wrong thing necessarily, right? But someone else's job, I should just be soivlet, just bear it. But if you see someone wrong with someone else, so you should tell him. But a person should never be angry. Person should never really have a kas. As the Mesillas Yesharim says, ki eina seichel sholet by klal. Someone who's angry, his seichel is not sholet. As we said, if you ever see someone who is angry, you see how foolish the person looks. You can tell a person doing the wrong thing, but when it's coming from a point of anger, that is not a good thing. And there's no seichel being sholet there. And then he goes through basically the Mishnah Pirkei Avos, where he discusses you have someone who's easily angered, and it's hard for him to get rid of his anger. If a person who it's hard for him to get angry and hard to the best way to be is it's hard to get angry, and when he gets angry, he doesn't stay for a long time. He's able to move on and get rid of the anger. He then quotes the Gemara in Chulin, that quotes the pasuk in Iyov, Toile Eretz Al Blima. Kadosh Baruch Hu hangs the world on nothing. Says the Gemara, Eino Olam Miskayim El B'Shvil Misha Boilim Etz Atzma B'Shas Meriva, or Boilim Piv B'Shas Meriva. A person's in a fight, and someone is yelling at him, and he could fight back and say something and stoke the fire, stoke the flames, and he is quiet and he's boiling piv b'shas meriva. There's a maisa with someone who didn't have children, and he went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky has a few things that he says his standard, what he believes is a school to have children. One is to grow a beard, and I have a first cousin, who didn't have kids for a few years, and he grew a beard, and then he went to Chaim Kanievsky, and then he had kids. Fine. So that's one thing he says. The other thing he says is your beard's on the inside. You have a beard. The other thing he says is to be makbid to drink wine by Havdalah, as opposed to grape juice. To have wine by Havdalah. But I once heard a story where he told this person, you should be boilim piv b'shas meriva. You're in a fight, or someone's in a fight. Either yourself, you stop yourself, or stop the other person from fighting back. Be boilim piv b'shas meriva, and then yourself, or the person who you made stop getting involved in the fight, have him daven for you. You should have kids. At that point in time, say a tefillah. So this guy was in a certain place, and he saw his friend getting into a fight, and he told him, please, I'm begging you, don't respond to this guy. He's like, what do you mean, the guy, he bothered me? I'm going to tell you later why, just please hold yourself back, do not say anything, and his friend listened to him. After he said, okay, so please give me a bracha, I should have children. He did, and he told him the whole mitzvah with Rabbi Kanievsky, and he ended 9 months later, so the story goes, he had a child. So when one holds oneself back from kas, it's a very beneficial scholastic thing to do, so it's highly recommended. As the Gemara says in Eruvin, B'shloisha dvarim adam nikar. It's a scary Gemara. There are 3 things a person is nikar in: b'koisoi, b'kisoi, v'kasoi. Right? When a person drinks, how he acts. B'koisoi, b'kisoi. How is he with his money? Is he frugal? Does he is he a miser? Is he chesed oriented? U'b'kasoi, when he's angry. What's pshat? So kisoi, koisoi and kasoi. The word is when a person drinks and when he's angry, the seichel goes away. So the real true person is there. So that's how you can tell when we're not drunk and when we're not angry. So we have sometimes bad midas making us act good. I mean, I really want to yell at you and unload, but I can't do that because it's not becoming of who I feel I am. But when a person gets drunk, when a person gets angry and he loses inhibitions, so the real person is seen. Now, when it comes to money, I'm not sure why you have to analyze. Why is that a place where you see a person is nikra? Maybe a person thinks his money is coming to him, it's mine, I deserve it. How does he act when it comes to that? But koisei and kasoi for sure are ways that the fake person goes away and the real person comes out. So one has to be very careful, obviously. One doesn't necessarily want his true colors to show until he's worked on himself and fixed himself. Now, where does kas come from? Why does a person get angry? Why anger? Well, what's the yesod of the midah of anger? What does that come
Based
from?
on gaiva.
What?
It's based on gaiva.
It's definitely based on gaiva, that's correct. What do you mean, in what sense?
They're offended.
Meaning, like, how dare somebody do something to me? I'm me, I'm great, so, like, you're offending me, like,
right,
doing something to...
Well, you don't recognize who I am.
Right.
Like, a person's offended and he gets emotional and he just lashes back out. Right?
Well, for frustration also.
Right. I think, at least personally, I've ever read beer, so I have a little bit of experience with that. So I think it comes often, and I have a number of Baruch Shem beautiful children. So I think it comes from when, at least personally, when I want to be in control of the situation. When I want to walk into my house after shul, Shabbos morning, I want to see my kids sitting on a couch. Everyone's clothing is clean. I don't know if you noticed my 2-year-old yesterday came in. 2-year-old and 4-year-old were wearing the same dress. Right? 4-year-old was clean. 2-year-old had like black all over her dress. So it's only 5 houses from my house to shul. Now that blackness didn't happen in the house, I don't think. I don't think. So what could possibly happen on the way from the house to shul? So she was playing by that tree with the roots. And she fell more than once, and then the devil, So she comes in with all her glory. So that bothers me. The Rabbi the shul, his daughter's coming in, like in a dirty, So I want to be in control of the situation. And I'm not in control. So I think for me it's the frustration that leads to the kas. Now, a person has to realize in life that you have to worry about what one has control over, and whether the 2-year-old's dress is going to be presentable or not, one doesn't have control over necessarily, and therefore one has to just, that's what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. But I think whether it's gaiva, whether it's being offended, whether it's frustration, at the end of the day, it comes from a person losing control of what he believes he should be in control. I should be able to control what a person does to me because of who I am. He should understand who I am. And a person has that desire to be in control. The person has to realize whatever's in my ability, I take care of. Whatever's not, I hold back on.
What if you feel that it is in your control? Like, your example, in the future you'd have a talk with the older kids and say, when you bring the little one to shul, make sure she's not rolling around in the dirt, right?
Right. Yes. So but that's after the fact. That's after the fact in the sense that you have to wait. I would say at least 48 hours until you don't have. I've had. I think it says in the past. I've had instances where people have done things that felt inappropriate, and I had such a good way to say to them, say it in a very sharp way, and they'd understand. It'd be great. And I said, but I have this 72-hour rule. Let me wait till Tuesday. Let me wait till then. And by then, either I forgot about it, so that means it wasn't that important, or I lose my desire. Often the next morning you wake up, and you just lose the desire. But I was so convinced that I should say something. I had the chiyuv to say something. And then after a while, it's not worth it because it happened once. I don't think it's going to happen again, and you're risking the relationship, so it's not worth it. So I would wait 48 hours and then try to. But it's not always possible as the family grows. It's not always possible that everyone is on top of everything, and that's life. But yeah, definitely a person doesn't have to surrender. Whatever you can control in the future, you should try to. So that's kas. One should never ever be angry. But one's allowed to look angry. One can look angry, but never actually be angry. The third midah after gaiva and kas, the Mesillas discusses is kina, is jealousy, and he discusses these different levels of kina. There's a jealousy where the pasuk in Mishnah is referring to when it says urakav atzamas kina, that like the rotting of the bone, kina leads to rotting of the bone, which means that there's a certain level of jealousy where if this person has something that I don't think you should have, or I don't have, nothing that I have is worth anything. There's a certain kina where Haman had that, right? Kol zeh ani meshoyva li. As long as Mordechai is there, nothing that I have, I am invited to the party with the king and queen and just, he had everything in the world. He had one person that wasn't bowing down to him. So everyone else is bowing down to him. So forget about the one person. You have everything. He has everything. He wasn't happy because there was that one thing that was bothering him. A certain level of jealousy, there's the idea of jealousy. It wasn't kinna so much, it was covered, but they're related, that a person can be jealous of someone else. He has that. Nothing that I have, all the brach I have is worth nothing as long as that person has that thing. That's an extreme level of jealousy. There's a more subtle level of jealousy where, I don't when I say mazel tov to that person, when he got his new suit or his new car or his new house, and he's a friend of mine, I'm happy, but there's still something there that I'm feeling, that I wish he didn't have it. It's not the same level as nothing in my life is worth it to me, but a person is, the Gemara says that kol ben umen somen ben umenosai. Let's say for example, I always pick on doctors for some reason, I don't know why, but let's say, I know. Let's say you have two doctors, let's say for example, sitting around a table at breakfast, let's say hypothetically speaking, and
one doctor just.
So they can maybe kibitz with each other because this one doesn't want to think that one's a better one, this one's a better one. There could be a kibitzing back and forth. Kol ben umen, it's a Gemara. Kol ben umen somen ben umenosai. There's a bechina of kina, of jealousy. How does one rectify himself? How does he solve the problem for himself of jealousy? So the Gemara says in Yuma, the person has to realize that no one can affect anyone else at all. There's a guy in Melbourne, a rabbi, Mr. G, not rabbi, he taught in the school, Mr. Gurvich. He was a moicher dalaminim. He sold the masroigim, he sold the schach, Nazis on Pesach, and someone else opened up another selling of dalaminim. He attracted a broad segment of the community, and then a couple of people opened up that took away from certain kahillas, opened up their own individuals, and that took away from his. So I used to always buy from him, and he told me this Gemara. He said that I'm not nervous about these people because no one can affect my parnasa b'chlal. No one can touch a penny that's coming to me. So that's a way to try to help us avoid the kina. What kina means, I feel that this is coming to me, and he got that. Really, I should have that. Person has to realize. First of all, the Chafetz Chaim used to say, if everybody would take their peckle, we all have a package. Right? We all have good things and bad things that we think in our life. Really, everything is good. We have good things and bad things in our life. If everyone in this room would put their package on the table, and then you would have the decision, you have the choice, take anyone's peckle. You can take anyone's package. You would pick your own. Chafetz Chaim says, right? So a person has to realize that what I have is 100% coming to me. And if I had that, that wouldn't be good for me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me exactly what I need. A person can internalize that. He can avoid those feelings of jealousy. And he brings the pasuk in Yeshayahu, the Sarah Kinnis Ephraim, the Sarah Yehuda Yikaresu, Ephraim Leikanes Yehuda. In the end of days, or when a person gets to Olam Haba, there will be no more kina, because the person is going to be like the Malachi Asharis who sees the emes. The person sees the truth. There's no jealousy. Jealousy comes from sheker, from thinking that I should have what I don't have. When a person sees emes, it's not going to be a problem. He goes on to Chemdas Mammon. desire for money. So Chemdas Mammon is either desire for luxuries, which one has to hold at bay and realize I only take the Gashmias in as much, the physical, in as much as I need it for my ruchnis. Right? We have the bagels because it helps, it makes a geshmak matzah with the shiur or the shaftaris, but it's not an end in of into itself. And there's another bechina, another aspect of Chemdas Mammon, which is covet. A person wants to be respected, and he wants covet, and obviously that has to also be held in check. That was the downfall of Koirach. That was the downfall of the Meraglim, of the spies. They knew that when they go into Eretz Yisrael, they're going to lose their positions. So it was the idea of covet, and that led to all that destruction. So one has to be very careful when it comes to covet as well. It takes a person away from Yiddishkeit. He finishes off in Mesillas by saying that I was koidel here, I included in this parak many different details of Nikiyas, of being clean, and he said I can't cover every single permutation, every single mitzvah, every single midah, but he covered the basic ones, and he says at the end, a little divrei chizuk, he says, it appears to be very difficult to try to be nucky. Again, it's easy not to rob a bank, right? It's easy not to kill a person. These things are easy. These things are, at least for the northerners. For the southerners, I don't know. But for the northerners, it's easy not to kill people. And so therefore, I'm not a Ganov, I'm not a Ritzeach, I'm not a Mechal Shabbos, I'm a good person. But that's why, in a sense, Zrizis and Zehirus is relevant to us, but Nikiyah is even more relevant and nachatz and needed for us to focus on, because these are things that we think we have a shleimus in. And we have to realize that we have to analyze within ourselves. So in the past week, the past 24 hours, did I get angry? Right? Am I Balgaida? Am I jealous of other people? We have to think about these more subtle aveiros, we'll call it, and try to work on them. Says the Mesillas Yesharim, we'll end with this. He says that the machshava b'davar hazeh kasher min hamaisa. The thought process about it is harder than actually doing it. Meaning, the impression we have about how hard it is to accomplish nikiyas is much more difficult than in reality. He says, if a person makes a decision, a concrete decision, that I want to be proficient in this midah, with a little bit of regilas, of becoming accustomed to it, it ends up being much easier than he thought. And so a person picks one midah, the project for this week, a person will pick one midah, whether it's arrogance, anger, jealousy, desire for money, which is luxury, and covet, and respect. Person, let's pick one of those things. And on the way to work, when you have a quiet moment, you're not listening to headlines, you have a quiet moment. So a person should think about arrogance, think about one of those midas that he feels a connection to, and see where he can fix himself on it. And think about what the antidote is. Really, the antidote always is that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all these bad midas really come from thinking that I know better than Hashem how to run the world. I mean, it's a very strong way to say it, but really, if we had full bitachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what he's doing, the kas, the gaiva, the kinna would really disappear. Just to focus, to contemplate that, and try to fix, in these small, more subtle areas of these midas. And with that, we should be zoichet to the Gula Shleima.
Amen.